And hello and welcome to AleksTabletops MTG study. Wait a minute, I need to find things. Ugh. So we basically got back from the break. This is a second part of the stream, which is possible thanks to Wizards of the Coast providing me with this special preview account of Magic the Gathering Arena as an early access event. Thanks for the invite, Wizards. So again, this event is all about Theros, um, the the wait a minute, Beyond Death. Yeah, so let me get rid of the lags of the camera because I rebooted the system. Hopefully this stream is not going to lag the same way as the previous did. I rebooted the system, so just get rid of the lags now. Yeah, there's no lags here anymore. Cute. So let's just go. So yeah, so again, the first part of the stream, I built 3 decks. I built Devotion to White, Devotion to Blue, Devotion to Green. First one, Devotion to Green, that one, Devotion to Blue, and then to White. So we're going to play them exactly in the same kind of order. First one is going to be a Devotion to Green, the second one to Blue, to White. I decided not to build a Devotion to Red and Black because, again, in my opinion, I just don't want to play today any aggressive or decks that deal with self-harm, such as the Black one. And Green, again, I don't want to play anything aggressive, and I just want to play just for fun. So, and for me, the fun colors are green, blue, and white are the funnest colors. If I want to do something aggressive or create something like unusual, I will go to probably black. If I want to go into something aggressive, I will probably go into, of course, red. But since I don't feel aggressive at this point, I'm not in an aggressive mood, nor I'm in a mood to create something crazy. With black cards, since we're sticking for now this portion of the stream to mono colors to basically establish the main mechanics. So again, as a reminder, the 3 main mechanics that was added. So first is the return of sagas, which we will test throughout the game, throughout the stream. Second one is the devotion is back, and it's a little bit different now than it was before. We have a couple of interesting cards that works with double devotion, especially multicolor cards, which we'll test later. For now, since we're sticking to mono blue, to mono colors. So the whole point of focusing the stream at the beginning on mono colors is just basically just that sound. Yeah, to just try out things, get used to the new mechanics, and hopefully get familiar with them. So again, as I said in a previous recording, I'm not planning to play draft since we don't have that much time to draft to end. I'm not that good in draft. I don't like limited in general, so if it would be me, I would play historic during this early access event stream, but since this event is all about Theros Beyond Death, I decided to just focus on the limited kind of play, which I'm not good at. So today we're going to play only sealed a little bit later in the next part of the stream after a break. And this part of the stream probably going to be all about just best of 1 regular play. We're going to test mono decks first, and then we will build something multicolored based on the experience that we gain from monocolor decks and filling out the meta game, whatever people are playing. So yep, let's just go. No, the last thing that I want to do is I'm gonna switch the deck thingy into our new one in all 3 decks, since we're going to play them one by one either way. The second one is going to be a blue, and the third one probably didn't saved. Yep. Done. And this. Cool. So again, one of the new additional things to the game that will be available from the new update is the ability to favorite the decks, which is exactly what I did. It's actually a pretty good thing. Usually on my account I have a lot of decks. It is pretty hard sometimes to find the proper one. So now we have access to more deck options, including the search, colors, and the new one, a favorite deck, which will make things a little bit more I guess easy. So go play with our Devotion to Green. So Devotion to Green deck is in general just focuses around 3 new mechanics. So again, escape mechanic, which basically allows to bring this card back from the graveyard by paying escape cost and also exiling 4 other cards from your graveyard, or certain amount of cards based on the escape cost. So basically escape cost is the mana cost in addition to the need of exiling a certain amount of cards, and usually escape cards are getting back with additional perks. Not all of them, but most of them. So this deck is mostly based around mana, like around putting as many mana as possible in order to play bigger spells. Of course, Devotion is also here present. So again, this is kind of a mixed deck. I mean, it just has a lot of mixed cards together. They don't necessarily have a good synergy, but in general, again, it's not about creating a good deck here. It's just all about testing new mechanics and decks and how they work together, maybe at least kind of gaining some type of a clue what they're doing. So yeah, let's just go and play our first match in early access. So again, hopefully stream is not going to lag the way that it lagged in the previous kind of part once I built the deck. But again, it was all about deck building, and if it lagged, it's not that big of a deal, as long as the game itself is not lagging while we're playing. So pretty cool, We have this early escape card, pretty cool. Don't have that many. Usually we need double forest in order to utilize double mana cards. Let's just try. So again, we're not going to concede any duels, so we're going to play the way that it basically plays out. There's nowhere to rush. We also kind of have to create a good experience for all players. Pretty cool owl. It's metallic. Metal. This is cool. I actually hope that we're gonna play on a new arena. We're not playing on a new arena, unfortunately. But at some point, I believe we will play in a new arena. And also, we don't have any friends because this is a VIP clan. Okay. Again, this one enters the build field and actually fights. No, it deals damage to other creatures with flying and opponent controls. We're not necessarily 100% sure if opponent has something with flying or not there, so let's just start to put creatures in play while we can and slowly attack. I don't know what type of decks people are playing. I wish we see I'd like to see more people playing less standard-oriented decks with a couple of new cards and mechanics and more probably Theros-oriented decks. But again, the regular play is built around standard mostly. If I would want to play limited, I would of course play sealed or draft only. So because of this, we might lose most of the matches, because most of the people are going to play just whatever they want. Let's just go in face. Scam. This team full allows us to put additional land, but unfortunately we don't have additional lands. We actually have quite mana screw at this point. Hopefully we'll get out of this. But now all of our creatures Once we will put this one in play, will cost one less to cast. Hey, new card. Ooh, that was pretty interesting animation. Hopefully we'll see a lot of cool animations throughout this. So yeah, it enters the battlefield because it's too cheap with 3, and then it right away dies. It gives this effect, gains 3 lives, opponent drew a card, and then opponent could put a land onto the battlefield. Then it basically goes into the escape, kind of basically into the graveyard, and it's here because it's playable. So yeah, we're not getting lands unfortunately, which is a shame. We don't have that many choices here, just go attack in the face. Why this land has all? Oh, because, yeah. Because this one is pretty awesome. Now all our lands have all colors. This is a pretty cool card, definitely must have for most of the multicolor decks. Now opponent put it with a regular price by exiling 5 other cards from the graveyard, which I kind of doubt that opponent had, but apparently... Oh no, this is just a second copy. Cool. And we're still not getting lands. This is a shame. So, creatures and enchantment spells you control can be countered, which is a good thing. And then target land you control becomes an elemental, but again we don't have enough mana for any of it. This deck is pretty risky, by the way. I mean, I don't have... So this is an 80 card deck. I don't have that many lands in this deck. Like usually I would have like 32 lands. This deck, since I have a lot of cards that work with mana, I don't have that many. Of course, Nisa. So Nisa deck is definitely will become stronger now in standard. This is especially because of this ancient. Let's skip that one. Need to stay in block with 2/4 now. So yeah, enters the battlefield. You gain life equal to your devotion to green. So let's see how many we'll gain. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to gain 4, 5, 6. 6 life. Yep. And staying alive. So this is it. So this card has already played itself. And this thing basically means that devotion is 6. It's also a good indicator, like overall indicator. It will grow. This indicator will grow the more cards with green mana symbol we're going to put in play. So again, we're losing at this point, probably, because we have too few lands. Different mana screw.
The land fights for us.
Yeah. Oi. Flanking nice. Yeah, we're having a lot of problems with mana at this point. We have a lot of big cards, but not enough mana to utilize everything. I feel that we could put more lands here. We need to think about it. Like 30 lands, or maybe 28. I don't remember how many lands I have in this deck. Usually 32 for a 80 card deck is more than enough. Of course it all depends on the converted mana cost and whatever. So opponent probably has some buffers, so this guy's still not going to work. It's probably time to start killing some opponents' creatures. So we don't need that. I'm not going to benefit anything from that one either. So let's just go with this. We're 100% going to lose this one, but kind of want to see. So far, we saw only 2 new cards from in opponent deck, and both of those cards work pretty good with Nisa. So this one allows to draw additional cards and hope in drawing Nisa. Also plays lands. So basically playing with this like pretty standard Nisa deck we're probably going to see in competitive play. So this is pretty stupid. We have 3 copies of this. Probably time to play it. At least we will be able to block and staying in block. And again, if opponent will destroy it, we're able to have only 1 copy. Not necessarily destroy it, but exiles it. There's nothing to exile it with. Blue-green don't have that many exilers. Seriously? 50... This is crazy. Because of these guys, opponent basically now able to play everything. Noise. There is a possibility that this card could be banned at some point because of its craziness. I mean, I gotta be kidding me. 108 mana plus 32 plus 27. Opponent basically could play everything from the hand and from the library if possible. So it's actually pretty cool. Slick. Yeah, I wish opponent had a proper timer, but not enough cards to exile from the graveyard. I mean, opponent will be able to play only 1 of these guys. Exile 5 cards and this is it. Why opponent produces so much mana? This is kind of pointless. Unless opponent has a the X multiplier card that enters the battlefield and multiplies the X and kills us with 1. Or does something with just 1 card. Oh snap. Noise. Hydra. Opponent basically killed himself. Oh, this is funny. Oh, that was awesome. Yes. Not every time this ability is a good one. In this case, this ability killed opponent. That was fun. That was definitely a fun one. It's gonna be a pretty decent clip once we finish the stream. So yeah, let's continue to play. So again, this deck definitely has problems with mana, but hopefully it's all about drawing a proper hand. Like, I took a pretty risky hand, so because of this I probably potentially could lose the game if opponent didn't kill himself or herself. So let's just try to take a hand that gives us more lands. I mean, 2 forests kind of seems decent. Each player puts the top 2 cards from their library into their graveyard. Exile up to 2 from graveyards for each creature card. Exile this way, gain 1 life. Ugh, whatever. Let's just play with whatever hand we're going to be dealt. Probably not going to play this saga any soon. Probably could be a good idea to actually put proper forest and play counterspell. Nope, it's a good one. Playing counterspell decks, by the way, in early access event kind of seems lame. I mean, if you like counterspell decks, of course you will play them. But it seems a weird choice, in my opinion. The beginning of combat, your turn. This one is a good one. So now it's going to make this one bigger. And it doesn't give haste, it only gives trample, so... Oh, hello there. So, because devotion to to blue is not enough, it's still just a regular enchantment. I'm having troubles with lands again. This level is actually pretty fun. At the beginning, like, I didn't like it necessarily how it looked, but now it actually looks pretty cool. It has 3 colors though. Okay, let's see how this one works first. Kinda wanna see if opponent allows us to play it. Oh, then there's the battlefield tapped. So opponent probably going to lose unless something is gonna transpire during this turn. Yeah, this one is pretty cool. This Centaur, kinda like its ability. It's relatively cheap. It could make smaller creatures stronger, and if opponent doesn't have any defense, but we're still getting troubles with mana. I believe the perfect hand is going to have 3 mana. 2 mana is still kind of slow. Gaining control. Huh? That was interesting. So let's see how this one works. Green. 2. So we're gonna attack with both of them actually. No, let's just set this one on block. Or not, why? I could attack. We're not necessarily losing. Or winning. Opponents build a pretty weird deck with counter spells, gain controllers, copier, and voila. These guys are not helping the devotion to kick in. Probably should exile a different one. And this is quite it. We can't do much. Just turn one of the cards into the elemental with certain type of devotion. This one is actually pretty good. Let's keep it. Probably made a mistake. Probably should make this one stronger. Why we can't make stronger? Human. Control creature before greater. No, let's just put this on to graveyard. Attacking with this one kind of seems weird. But we have to press. We have to force opponent into blocking. Good. We lost only 1 creature. Nah, we didn't lose anything. Opponent could potentially survive for quite a long time and actually turn the game around. Especially with this noise. So now we don't have devotion. This one is kind of weird. We probably have to exile creatures now in order to get mana. Not that many creatures here. We probably will exile something from our graveyard. Just has only 1 creature. Less than 5. So at this point we have only devotion to 1, to green 1. So yeah, this is actually, no, actually 2 at this point. This is a good indicator of the overall devotion. So, return target creature card or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Let's just use a card with Constellation. We have enough mana. So enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to your devotion to green, which means that we need to play first cards to make our devotion stronger. Unfortunately, both of those cards are kind of pointless. Search. Oh snap. We're not going to have enough to play it both. Oh no, we will, because this one gives us all types of lands. And also now we see how Cancellation is working, pretty cool. You look at the top 3 cards of your hobby, you reveal a land card, mount them, put them to your hand. We don't have any lands there. And also, we'll be able to put this one in, gain 5 lives. Cool. And attack. So far, strictly Theros deck is working. This is our second match, and we're pretty close to winning it. Which might not happen, because remember, opponent has game controllers. At least 2 and other mass manipulations that could steal our creatures. And as long as opponent has enough blockers. Shame we lost this one. It could help us to turn our lands into creatures and kill opponent with trample. But at this point, things are not cool. And this one works at this point just as an enchantment. As a creature, not enough devotion. No thanks. There's the field, so we don't have that many choices here. The beginning of the combat. Oh yeah, this one gets trampled. Cool. Also constellations. We don't need lands. Graveyard. Trample. Okay, we'll force opponent into blocking. Let's just attack and hopefully kill opponent. It's pretty risky to attack with all of them though. But again, we have to press. Hopefully we will deal enough damage. Or we'll do enough damage. Cool, cool, cool. Because the longer we stay in the game, the less chances we have in winning. Opponent's just going to at some point steal all of our creatures or whatever. And we're going to lose. Our second match and it's a win. Pretty cool. So far mono green is pretty good. So again, we saw how constellations work, we still didn't saw how escape works. And we didn't saw how works No, actually, most of the cards we saw how it works. Let's just switch probably from green. We won 2 matches with green. Now it's probably time to switch. So we didn't see necessarily how escape abilities worked. We saw how this guy worked. We won a couple of cool matches. Yeah, I guess most of the things in this deck we saw. Not all of them, but we saw how opponent lost the game with this enchant one, which is pretty cool. We saw how Nyx Lotus works. Yeah, I guess let's just switch the deck now. We played for about 30 minutes or so. So now it's time to switch to a Devotion to Blue. So again, Devotion to Blue is basically a deck that has the ability to tap, escape, works with the Constellation, with enchantments of course. And this is the only deck that basically built around this card and devotion to blue. Hopefully we will win the deck with this Merfolk Wizard. But if not, we also have a lot of different creatures to work with. This one makes harder for opponent to play spells. Turn, draw a card. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting deck. We might not need 24 lands for this. Maybe 22 could be more than enough for 2.8. But let's see. There you go. Play now with blue. How about quests? Blue here, green, white, white, blue. Let's start to build this quest too. 2 matches played, 2 matches win. Cool. It's not all about wins and losses. Mostly I don't care about them. Two else pets. We also have a lot of. Okay, yeah. There might be too many lands in this deck. Let's see. So this one equals devotion to blue. Creatures and enchantments you control have this. Just pretty cool. I mean, ideally this is not a good hand. But since... yeah, let's just take something. Yeah, this is better. We might not have enough lands though, but hopefully it will work. Let's just get rid of something that we're probably not going to play any soon. This one might work. Spell field side target spell. I want to keep this one to see how it works. At some point. Whatever. Re-entering the battlefield. Yeah, let's just put this one on the bottom. Ooh. This is potentially could be aggressive deck. That consists one of the colors that I decided not to build deck around. Red. Oh, this is actually a multi-color deck, which is even cooler. Put one of them on top of your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So ideally we need lands. This one of them. So this one is gonna be on top and the other one at the bottom. So the first one is on top. Constellation. So we're going to play this one later, in order to activate the multiple devotion. Now it's probably time to put. Maybe draw a card. You may pay 1. Yeah. Let's play this Kraken. There's no point of attacking. Let's think what needs to be played next. Kraken, whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. If you do, put a +1 counter on this Kraken and also create a tentacle. This is quite a good one. I mean, for that, of course, we need more lands. Okay, enchantment deck. We don't need that one. I mean, no, actually need it. It gives us the pretty big devotion. Skip that one. Although 6 damage is pretty big. Oh. So let's just start to produce blockers. Those guys will help us to block 6/8. And let's now search for a land, because we have troubles with lands. We have pretty big devotion, so at least one land we're gonna get. Since the rest of the cards we'll put into the library in random order, it doesn't matter what to choose. Let's just choose this land. Let's attack now. We're gonna block with this one. Since this deck is all about devotion, we need to keep the devotion intact. It's at this point it's 6. 2 from this, 2 from this, and 2 from this. And of course this one gives us a 0. Hopefully the opponent doesn't have a trample. That way we will be able to prevent this big creature. And remember that once this one will die, opponent will produce 2 green wolf creature tokens. Not trample. Oh no. I believe this was probably a mistake, I don't know. No. It's fine. That way each turn we would be able to produce blockers. I have another one. So this is our land. So now, question. Enters the battlefield, exile target spell. So again, I don't know how this one works necessarily. I'll probably have to play it later. So at this point, creatures enchantment control spells your opponent. This one allows us to re-enter those guys into the battlefield, which is actually pretty cool at the beginning of your end step. Yeah, let's just put this one. We don't have enough devotion. No, we actually have enough devotion to put it in play. Cool. We're gonna keep one of them alive. Attack with both of them, because one of them is going to re-enter the battlefield. So we also now could block with Indestructible. Sick. Okay, so here we need to think. Constellation, whenever you jump it enters the battlefield you control. No. We already have this one, and this one allows us to top target, and it doesn't untap. I mean, let's just focus on lands now. We need lands at this point. We have troubles with lands. A lot of cards that we would want to play, but... By the way, this combination is pretty sick. I mean, having this one in play, and at least 2 of these, and a couple of cards to block with, especially if we want to put this one, which makes opponent more vulnerable to these cards. Actually,
learn what nobody yet knows.
Create a lot of cool stuff, cool situations. For some reason, it reads that stream is unstable, although speed is pretty stable. I mean, it drops occasionally, but it's relatively stable. I would say it's quite stable. So, there's no point of attacking here. Let's just stay in defense. Okay, we will get some big card here whenever you cast your first spell. Yeah, we probably need to choose this one in order to gain... we need to start to drawing cards with our first spell.
My answers lie in the cold truth.
Probably should choose it later. Not enough to play multiple cards at the same time. Okay. Now that this is a problem because it has trample. Or Lance will have trample. Another constellation. Or at least we're playing with a deck that has a lot of cards from Theros, which is a good thing. We will pay. Now put in this one. Staying in defense. There's no point of attacking. So by defending ourselves with this, we could actually at some point just win the game. Once our devotion to black is more than the cards in our graveyard. So now we need to choose cards with devotion. So let's just choose this Kraken again. We need to now build into a devotion.
What is my strategy here?
It also will allow us to pay twice and create two blockers, two tentacles. The more creatures we have, the better, I guess. Let's hope that opponent doesn't have mass removal, because remember, opponent has 3 colors: green, blue, or green, white, and red. So this deck is pretty flexible. Could be anything there. So let's just play another Kraken. So now devotion at 10, we have 46 cards. It's pretty far away from it, but we'll get there. So here, ideally we would need lands, but let's search for another horse in order to spells you cast with kind of mana cost 5 or cost less. No, let's just find another horse. The more horses we have, the more cards we're going to get with casting our first spell. The more cards we're gonna get, the better. So now I'm aiming into utilizing this strategy, so gaining as many devotion as possible. Oh snap. What was that? I'm starting to hear myself. Opponent killed one of our creatures, one of our Krakens. Pretty crazy. Constellations are getting overused. Oh no, this is bad now. It has trample and we're losing the game. Why it has trample, by the way? What gives it a trample? Oh.
Practice the new combination.
Okay. I kind of missed what killed us. I believe the minus ability of the Planeswalker, -8, deals damage to target equal to the number of cards in your hand, and opponent draws a lot of cards. So yeah, opponent had multiple ways to kill us. It was another one. So we actually were not necessarily close to utilizing the strategy of this deck, but it was actually pretty cool. In general, the match was pretty cool. I just didn't know what type of deck we played against, and I didn't pay attention to Planeswalker necessarily, although I should. But either way, I probably wouldn't. I couldn't do anything with the Planeswalker. We wouldn't. We couldn't attack. We could attack actually. We would lose a lot though. It would put in jeopardy the general strategy of the game, of the deck. So I believe we're gonna do this. Like, we're going to play half an hour with each deck, so 15 minutes more with this deck. It's a pretty decent hand. I wish we had more islands though, but yeah, since this part of the session, the second part of the session, is going to be 2 hours is each part. I probably will spend remaining 30 minutes to build a multicolored decks that we're going to play in the next part of the stream after a break. By the way, the next break that I'm going to take is going to be longer. So this break was about 15 or 20 minutes. The next break is probably going to be about an hour or so. Okay, more lens. Perfect. Lava coil. Hello, lava coil. So, I don't know. Let's just put Kraken. These guys are much more valuable than Kraken. If opponent has removal for each card that we're going to put in play, I'd rather use Kraken than Hippocamp. Let's try this now. That was aggressive. Out of all decks, by the way, that I have, deck that I like the most probably is the blue one. I probably should play this one first and then this one, that way I would utilize Constellation. Kind of missed it. Yeah, because this is enchantment creature. This is something to pay attention to, since now we have a lot of creatures like this. Opponent probably waits for mass removal. I don't know, like, one of the things that I don't get, why whenever you cast your first spell during each opponent's turn. Opponent's turn, draw a card. Damn it. I kinda missed it. Yeah, this card is not necessarily that good. I thought that our turn. I don't have that many instances here. What? What? Why? What happened? Oh, when I shot enters the field, you may have become a copy of another creature. Oh, that's what. Tap target creature doesn't untap. And now I could make one of the cards re-enter. Let's re-enter this one. So yeah, I need to rethink this deck in this card in this deck. I misread that it works only during the opponent's turn. It's not necessarily that valuable. If it would work during our turn, it would be super awesome. But during the opponent's turn, we need a lot of instants or to utilize on the opponent's turn, or cards with flash, which I don't have. So in general, we need to rebuild it. So, okay, let's go with this, and then it actually doesn't matter. Constellation is not going to be utilized. Snap. Re-enter the battlefield, yes. Let's this. Constellation. Because if we will make a copy of this one, since it's legendary, we're going to lose one of them. Ha! It's flying! Sick. That was pretty cool. So yeah, either way we won the match because opponent basically got burned out pretty quickly in terms of the. So we have time for one more match with this deck. Let's just make some corrections in it that I noticed. So this card unfortunately is not working here because we don't have that many cards with flash. Like we have 2 Ashok's copies, Erasure copies, but they're pretty hardly playable. And most of the card, we have 2 of these that have flash too, but again, in most cases it's not going to work. I mean, we have 0 instances, only 2 of these. So unfortunately this card is not playable here, although it's pretty cool. It's enchantment creature. Let's just find a replacement for it. So again, we're sticking to only Theros Beyond Death cards, as I said before. When an enchantment enters the battlefield that you control, target clearly puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Yeah, when you have cards or decks built around escapability, this is not the wisest choice. Scry 2, choose a card name. When you cast a spell with the chosen name, the first time this turn, draw 2 cards. Look at the top card of each player's library. Pretty cool one. But instead, let's just choose something. I need a creature ideally, or at least something that could add the devotion to blue. Again, Reflection is an interesting card, but it's kind of tricky. We could think about something like this. Enters the battlefield, each enchanted creature gains hexproof until end of turn and also gets +1/+1. Not necessarily cool. Enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. No. This one just a disabler. We could take something but flying and flash. We need to create a replacement based on an enchantment element. So as long as this you turn spells you cast, as long as it's not your turn, spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So again, it could work for a couple of flash cards, but kind of the same as this one. It works a little bit better though, because as long as there are 10 or more cards in a single graveyard, it can't be blocked as long as you control an Ashok Planeswalker. Of course, we don't have Ashok here. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards, unless you discard an enchantment card. Although we could work with this deck. Let's just find something different here. The king of your upkeep, return up to 1 target enchantment you control to its owner's hand. No. Never enchantment enters the battlefield and you control this, gain flying. Yeah. If thinking about devotion, I would think about something like this only. But again, it's pretty costly. I need something cheaper. Look, I don't have that many choices here. Something with convert mana cost 3 or 2. This one is pretty cool. Counter target creature or enchantment spell, if the spell is countered this way. But again, we need to then think about mana on our turn too. Yeah, whatever. Let's just put this one. We have a couple of creatures with flying, or with flash. We have a couple of cards with flash. This one could cost cheaper. This one could cost cheaper. If it reduces the cost of Ashok into 3, it's much more playable. So is this one. As long as we don't have troubles with mana. Let's put this. And maybe whatever, let's just put all copies. Again, if you play like limited it's not limited necessarily format, but limited choices. If I'm choosing only to play decks with Theros Beyond Death, kind of makes things a little bit harder in terms of the choice. So I guess this is going to be our last match for this deck, then we're going to switch to the white, mono white. And by switching to mono white, we will play for about 30 minutes mono white, and after that we will build some multicolor deck. Either one or a couple of them, we'll see. Tap target creature doesn't tap, which is good for the beginning. Also, we'll be able to use... That's actually a pretty decent hand. I mean, Kraken is the only thing that could make our game better. Hello. And it's also a sorcery. Uncool. I don't know. It's quite weird choice at this point. Play Kraken, kind of a good idea, but if opponent has Nisa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and Nisa enters the battlefield next turn. So let's just do that instead. Slow down the thing. It doesn't matter. Let's keep this one and play it next turn, because if we will be able to utilize this on Nisa, it's gonna be awesome. Since we're probably going to lose this match, I kinda want to test some things. So again, when it enters the battlefield, exile target a spell. Your opponent can cast spells with the same name as the exiled card. Leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to its owner's hand. The opponent definitely has Nisa. Oh snap. Nope. Not so fast. Yeah, so now opponent not able to play Nisa, which is pretty sick. Unless opponent removes this erasure, of course. So yeah, this is how it works. So basically it kind of works like it's just a regular spell. Okay, so this one could be tapped. Let's play this. Let's tap this. A lot of Nisas, but opponent is not able to play them. Oh, this is bad. It could be a cool thing, by the way, to use erasure on this one. So we have enough lands. Just create some blockers. I would rather keep in use erasure next turn. Or I don't know. I need to think. No, let's just use escape. Oh, we don't have enough cards on escape, yeah. Unfortunately. Okay, let's just skip them. That was actually funny. Oh, a lot of mana. Be aware. Freelance. What a point displaying in there. Draw a lot of cards. I still don't get why the cards... Oh, without paying their mana cost, okay, understood. Oh, this is bad one. We definitely need to use erasure on this one, on final, on Devastation. Come on. Play it. Play Devastation. Yes! Not so fast. The only problem is, like, is it work? Is it gonna work? Yes, it works. So it works on spell, not necessarily on permanent. This is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So the Erasure is definitely an interesting card, especially against like targeted decks. Like for instance, Nissa and Devastation are one of the key things of this deck. But of course, opponent will find something. And we still probably lose this game, but at least in fan fashion. Oh snap! Goody. We did everything that we could. Truly. So let's just kill for 3, and it doesn't matter. All of them have trample. That was a good one. Although we still didn't utilize the escape ability so far. Again, it's a pretty costly ability. I mean, you need to spend a lot of time in order to utilize it and build a proper deck. So it's not something that you will be able to play on a constant basis. So yeah, it's time to switch deck. So Devotion to Blue is a pretty cool deck. I mean, out of all 3 decks that I created so far, it's my favorite because it has like the strongest synergy, I believe. It focuses mostly around Devotion to Black. Devotion to Green is just mostly like random deck. It has a lot of random cards that don't necessarily have a synergy, except just producing a lot of mana. But again, it's not working necessarily that well. So it's kind of a little bit more chaotic. This one is much more solid, mono blue. This is one of the things that I believe blue has by default. Like I believe the mono blue is one of the most synergetic decks in general, because maybe, I don't know, I might mistake. Whatever. Let's just switch to Devotion to White. Okay, so Devotion to White, what do we have here? Devotion to White again, it mostly works around Devotion. We have the ability to make Planeswalkers harder to activate. A couple of removals here and there, the Devotion cards, the ability to place counters, make creatures unrestrictable, produce Pegasus, have Planeswalkers here. So I guess if we would think about the strategy, mass removals, we would think about getting to Elspeth abilities and making our creatures stronger. It's a pretty straightforward deck, I guess. Nothing super complex in it. And we shouldn't have troubles with lands in it. Let's play it now. So for another approximately half an hour, we're gonna play Devotion to White. Nothing like no original names for the decks. Why bother? So you just play with what they are. Most of them are built around Devotion, and we're also testing other mechanics, of course. We already saw how Constellation works. It's pretty cool. You could actually build a pretty decent deck around Constellation. Oh, sick hand. Truly sick hand. And we'll be able to search for Elspeth. We have this, which will become stronger with the more Devotion. It's actually, I would say this is a winning hand, if everything will go right. Right now in Russia it's pretty late. By the way, quick reminder, that this stream is possible thanks to Wizards of the Coast providing us with this special preview account of Magic the Gathering Arena as an early access event, and thanks Wizards for this invite. It's awesome. So far, so good. So again, this early access event is focused around Theros Beyond Death, which will be available in about a day or so. Depending on the area, on your time zone, it will vary when exactly it's going to be available. But approximately, I believe, January 16 to 17 or something like this. I believe official date is 17. course. This one enters the... We already played against smaller deck. So now Devotion to white will grow to 3. We could stay in block, but let's just attack while we can. So once this one, like whenever you gain life, put a +1 counter on target creature enchantment you control, which is actually pretty cool. So this one will allow us to gain life if it's not gonna die. Another creature control enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. This deck has pretty interesting synergy so far. Gaining life. Around Devotion. Why I'm not able to play this? Oh, not enough mana. Okay. Let's put and make Devotion stronger. +1 counter on target creature enchantment you control. Let's make this one stronger. Yes, I'm gonna search for this pet. And yes, I'm going to find it. We'll be able to play it next turn. I believe we could safely attack. There's nothing that could harm us here. Silver Owl, the Dark Owl and Owl. Let's make it fly. That's actually a pretty cool one. Oh, snap. Ew. Uncool. 3 life, draw cards, then you may put a land card from under the battlefield. Okay then. And this is it. So again, Lazav turned the card from the graveyard, the only card that opponent had in the graveyard, into a creature and attacked us. That's fine. I'm gonna skip that one. This is, by the way, an interesting thing. I mean, officially, Uro is not entered the battlefield. Enters the battlefield, but, oh, or attacks. So yeah, once it attacks, you can gain life. Yeah, it's fine. I thought it was a mistake. The beginning of your upkeep, put a +1 counter on each creature you control. This one is actually a pretty cool one. It's better to play this. We could see how those things, except target permanent and opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or greater. We need to actually exile Lazav. This is the only choice for this point. Then, when creature spells your opponent controls card to exile, in turn target creature planeswalker from the graveyard to the battlefield. Put +1 counters on your graveyard. We have a lot of choices, but we kind of have to play on sped and steal this guy. And of course attack with all of them. Although it's pointless. Opponent will block 3/3. So next turn, non-creature spells opponent. Your opponent. Oh no. Opponent's playing a pretty interesting deck. I love multicolor decks, but again, usually in order to build a decent multicolor deck, I have to spend a lot of time, and we don't have this amount of time during the early access event stream, so because of this I decided to focus on mono decks so far. It's kind of cool. We probably could play something bigger or better. But now let's make this one stronger. And now attack with it only. the rest will stay in block. It's undestructible. Also, another target creature gains lifelink until end of turn, so this is something that we need to consider. Hopefully we'll survive next turn, and in order to next turn utilize lifelink, gain some life. But again, we don't have that many big creatures to gain life with. This one is pretty small, although it has a pretty decent defense. Opponent survived by the skin of his teeth, or her teeth. But this deck opponent could actually kill us with one attack, if everything is properly played. So we need to be cautious here. If next turn, instead of playing this one, I played this one, put +1 counter on each up to 2 target creatures. What is this? Oh no. Okay, enters the battlefield, sacrifice, has escaped. So it will be sacrificed, but upon entering the battlefield, it triggers each opponent discards a card, then each opponent who didn't discard a card, a non-land card this way, loses 3 lives. You could lose 3 lives. Non-land card. Let's discard this one. Search your library for a basic plane. Yeah, this one, the least. So far. The opponent will deal significant amount of damage to us, maybe even kill us. 5 cards into graveyard, opponent could return this one back. Not enough to return this one though. Not enough mana. No, not enough mana. So now opponent could sacrifice only 2, make this one stronger. Also upon attack it will also sacrifice a permanent. Still not enough to kill us, I believe. And these guys are just gonna grow stronger. So now let's play this. Search your library for graveyard for a card name. Let's just make our creatures in general stronger. And again, attacking with all of them kind of seems from one. Let's attack with all of them, whatever. I don't care, because if we're not, we're risking to lose. And this way at least we'll force opponents to block everyone and lose all of the creatures. So far we didn't play it on a new board. Hopefully we will though, throughout early access event. Yeah, there's a big chance that it's gonna kill us next turn. Let's make this one stronger. Again, if opponent plays properly 17 lives, it's not that big of a deal to deal with this amount of creatures, like 9, 10, 11, 12. It's actually quite possible, especially if something will enter the battlefield with trample, with haste. So it's now all about proper play for the opponent to kill us during this turn. Let's see. We'll see. We played our first Planeswalker from Theros. So at least one more match we're gonna play with this deck. Snap. So yeah, this is how escape works. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. So we already have a copy of this one. Just sacrifice it. So again, 9. Opponent has the same block, I believe. Unless opponent has a different plan. It will sacrifice itself, gain life. Or it will survive. Probably even win. Oh, opponent lost life though. What forced the opponent to lose life? 3 life. It's pretty close to killing us. So now opponent probably will tap, sacrifice this goose, become stronger. The question is, attack us in the face or kill Elspeth. The minus, yeah, with -8, she's pretty strong. Creatures you control gain flying, get +X, and where X is your devotion to white, but of course it's going to be available on the next turn, which will not going to survive. Yeah, we're going to lose this one. Pretty close. Pretty close one. Again, we don't have anything but trample here. And of course the thing that we got is not enough. The card that we're going to search is the only thing that we can do at this point is to gain as much life as possible. So again, we're not going to be able to get this here, but we could get this here. And this is it. And we're gonna attack with all of them and I guess die. Or maybe we need to think. Maybe attacking with all of them is not necessarily a good idea. Attacking with 2 of them, keeping those to block the biggest creatures, we might actually survive another one turn. Let's just attack with only 2 of these. Probably going to lose this, but it's fine, as long as we will get 8 lives. We wouldn't kill the opponent by attacking with all of them. Also keeping those guys in play is a good idea. Gals, human cleric, 4/4. So, I believe it was quite a mistake. Opponent could not allow us to gain lives. +1/+1. So now opponent has a choice, either attack Elspeth or attack us in the face, which now becomes a little bit harder because we have blockers for non-flying creatures. And also we gain 8 lives, which opponent could prevent us if opponent would sacrifice a proper creature by blocking a little bit differently. It was a weird choice, by the way, from Bo1's side. I would choose to block this one with the goose and then sacrificed it and didn't allow the opponent to gain 8 lives. That way I might have a chance to block or to kill opponent this turn. Things are not over. Still could have a chance. We again dropped speed. Bit rate is down, unfortunately. What's happening there? What's happening there? I guess it's time to talk about when exactly I'm going to get back streams. So usually I'm streaming pretty often during the week, at least 2 times a week. But last couple of months I had to go into hiatus. So, and from now on, the priorities are changed. I talked about the fact that AleksTabletops is not going to be my main priority. So, because of this, I'm not going to, like, we're going to stream during this early access event, which is awesome, cool. I will produce a lot of content. And then, till the end of the month, I don't have any plans on returning back to streaming full-time, as usual, like, bring back my regular schedule. And even if I will get back starting February, there is a good chance that my schedule will become less loaded in terms of the amount of streams per week. There is a possibility, like so far, I'm producing at least 8 streams per month, but this might change quite a bit. I might go down in quantity of streams, produce less, and this is a problem. Like, as long as we continuing, as long as we are gonna continue our attacks, press opponent and gain some lives, we could be fine. This is the thing about lifelink decks. So now opponent has to sacrifice something. Yep, 6/6, in order not to allow us to gain lives. Good. Still we'll be able to gain some life if opponent decides to attack. As long as opponent loses 1 creature at a time, it's a good thing for us. So we have advantage in cards, so the longer game will progress, as long as we will be able to defend ourselves, we have advantage. The only problem is, like, as I said before, the escape ability kind of creates a lot of problems. Opponent will be able to replay those cards on multiple occasions. So it's not like once you will play it from the graveyard it will be exiled and that's it, you're not going to be able to play it. With escape ability it's actually replayable on multiple occasions as long as the opponent has enough cards on the graveyard to sacrifice and mana to pay for escape cost. So there could be a possibility that this is our only match. Because if so, the stream is just gonna be me playing, and we're going to leave deck building at the beginning of the next stream. So again, as I said before, once we will get to the 2-hour mark of the stream, not necessarily 2-hour mark on the stream on Twitch, because stream at this point lags. I don't have I'm gonna lose next turn. No doubt. Unless I will attack with all of them though. No, I shouldn't. My creatures are getting stronger. Oh snap, this is sick. Enters the battlefield, set target non permanent and opponent controls until leaves the battlefield. So now let's try to steal 16/16. The only problem is opponent still will be able to turn Lazaf into it upon sacrificing, but it's not going to be that strong. That's weird. Now we're gonna do this, and again we're gonna leave this on block. Let's continue to attack with our big guns. We're not going to gain life, by the way. It's actually something that might kill us. So again, opponent will probably block with cat, sacrifice a cat, blocks our 12-18, not allowing it to gain life. And this is it. Again, as long as we have creatures to block with, we're fine. We're probably gonna lose one of them. Next turn opponent will probably attack with 6/6. We have to block with our 6/6. Oh no, one of our 6/6 actually will become at the end of the turn 7/7, which just changes things in our... Cool. Yeah, Theros is definitely... I have better feeling about Theros than I had about Throne of Eldraine. I mean, Throne of Eldraine had a lot of possibilities, but in the end, they didn't turn out that well, like that, working that well. With Theros, I don't know, intuitively I see more potential. I couldn't say like 100%. I couldn't explain what exactly could make By the way, why we didn't whenever we gain life? Oh, we didn't lose any creatures. So the question is, what opponent will turn Lazav into? From graveyard into 6/6. That way we're gonna lose both of our creatures. It's just the beginning of the end. But opponent doesn't have enough mana for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, actually opponent has enough mana. We could actually skip part of the damage and kill Lazav and not block 6/6. Yeah. Now opponent will turn Lazav into 6/6 in the hope of killing our Victorian boy. We don't want to forget to give it lifelink, of course. Yes, so don't forget to give it a lifelink to regain life that we potentially could lose. And now opponent could choose not to give us life and sacrifice 6/6. And make 6/6 stronger and kill us. Only 2 lives are going to be left if opponent has a buff. Oh, not even the buff. Opponent could kill us with familiar. I forgot about it. Sacrifice 2. Yeah, this is the way to win. So basically, opponent sacrifices 6/6, not allowing us to gain life. Mistake. And then place familiar twice in order to kill us. We would left with exactly 2 lives at that point. And now things became harder for the opponent to win. Yeah, I guess this is the way. So opponent could pull familiar. Yeah, opponent could actually deal lethal damage. Not enough calculation, I guess. Or maybe opponent distracted. Again, I'm just playing for fun here. But it was a mistake. It should be legal. Again, not allowing us to gain 6 lives, sacrificing this one. Still probably not enough though. Playing familiar once, giving us only 1 life. Only. But if opponent has another copy of this one, yes, then it could be actually a win. So yeah, opponent miscalculated. Why we lost 3 lives though? Oh, because this one didn't discard a card, lose 3 lives. Oh, that's what's that? We're still gonna lose though. You gotta be kidding me with this. We're gonna stay 15-15 in defense, the rest will go into block. And it doesn't matter, we're going to lose this. Okay. Our opponent's going to sacrifice them, we're going to lose the life gain. It would be much cooler if opponent would deal us lethal in a previous turn, which opponent could with 2 copies of this. This works too. So now I'm not going to be able to gain life, opponent's just going to attack us on the flying. 9, more than 10 damage. We have 4. Come on, stop reutilizing cards, it's pointless. Kill us already. Opponent could kill us with cats at this point. Or like this. Oh, our owl is disappointed. Pretty cool deck. I mean, is it truly only 1 match with this deck we played? It seems like I thought we could play another one, but I don't know. Yeah, let's just play another match with this deck. We didn't necessarily saw this deck through the whole thing. We kind of stick to combination of 3 or 4 main cards only. It has more than... Or this is already a 3rd match? I don't remember. I truly don't remember. Whatever. Let's just play it. Then I will go into a pretty significant break before playing Sealed. I don't know, maybe we're not going to play Sealed at all. Like, this is something that I need to consider. The only cool thing about playing Sealed is to see how people are, what type of decks people will create. Maybe instead of playing Sealed and Draft, I could just have fun of playing Best of 1 with different type of decks. Because again, Limited is not necessarily my thing. We could play this one later. So, search your library for the basic playing card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle the library, then create a wall, and then gain life. Let's play this. Good early starter. Also, we might need lands. We'll create some blockers here, which is cool. Yeah, I believe I might change the direction of the streams. Instead of playing Sealed, which is again seems like I like Sealed. If I had enough resources in my regular account, I would probably play it more often. Enters the battlefield, you may put a target enchantment card from your graveyard on top of your library. If you do... Oh, this is actually pretty cool. So we have target enchantment. Going to put it on top of our library, and we're also gonna gain 2 lives for it. Yeah, it's better to, I believe, let's just do exactly that, because again, there's so many, I'm probably not going to be able to stream more than I can, so 6 hours is probably the tops that I could manage, because then I have to create a Russian content also, as a separate recordings, and then upload it on YouTube. Maybe I stream them, we'll see. Okay, this cool Hydra. Excel target permanent and opponent controls. Convert mana cost 3 or greater. This one is greater, so let's just do exactly that. I might play sealed in Russian streams, but in English streams, I guess let's just stick to regular best of one, because I didn't necessarily have that much fun playing in the previous event as I would want to, because I mostly focused that event around one deck. Focused around the Oko Planeswalkers and food. And around draft and sealed, which took me a lot of time. Okay, opponent exiles a non-land card among them, then you put the rest in your hands. The opponent may cast the exile card without... Oh, so now we're gonna see how this card works. So we could steal one card and give the rest of the cards to the opponent. Let's steal this. Whoops. Whoops. I thought that you could play it later, but apparently you're not. Opponent doesn't necessarily have Planeswalkers in the deck. Whatever. This is, by the way, enchantment. We will be able to return it. So we actually didn't lost anything. Which is fine. But at least opponent not going to be able to kill our creatures, which is the main thing. We'll continue to gain lives. So we need to think. Toughness. So this one will become stronger, which is a good thing. Probably should steal this instead. I mean, intuitively I made the choice choosing this one is because I didn't want opponents to get something to kill all of my creatures. So I'd rather steal mass removal myself than allow opponent to play it, even if I will lose, give me that or whatever. And I actually thought that I'm not going to play it right away. I thought I will play it later, and I could also decline and not to play it. So by playing it now we know how this card works. It's a pretty weird card, definitely a weird card. It's so freaking hybrid deck. I mean, mostly this deck surrounds around Fire of Invention. So far it has everything. It just basically becomes stronger with certain cards that make it stronger. Why make creatures trample? This one gives trample to all creatures, I guess. Not only to opponents. Skipping. I still have questions about this card. I mean, I didn't necessarily build a deck around it myself, so I don't see a full potential in it. Kind of quite restricting. We don't have another choice here. I had to return this one and replay it back. And steal either 5/5 or 6/6 to stop opponent from attacking, but again it's quite slow. The only good thing is that we were able to gain 5 lives based on its converted mana cost. And we'll continue to steal creatures with pretty big converted mana cost. Also, we have cards that could make Planeswalkers harder to put loyalty counters on, which is not a problem for opponent with the fairy and a lot of lands. Oh snap. I want to sleep right now. I mean, I'm kind of streaming for what?
I'm known for my excellent
4 hours? But I didn't when to go. I didn't.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
No. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah. While things are happening, quick reminder that this stream is possible thanks to Wizards of the Coast providing me with a special preview account of Magic the Gathering Arena as an early access event. Thanks for the invite, Wizards. It's cool. So again, this event is Theros Beyond Death. Opponent can kill us with 1. Yeah. So the only thing that we tried here, exactly, is we tried to play this card multiple times, but again, it's a relatively slow process when you basically returning back your enchantments. Yes, if those enchantments are big, you will gain some life, but not if you play against this type of big of a deck this opponent played. Wouldn't be able to win. So yeah, we have about 15 minutes till the end of the session, so we either could create a multicolor deck, or play some matches. I truly don't know what to do here. Like, it's all about playing, not building. But let's just build some decks, I guess. Like, yeah, I thought that I will be able to play some decent match in 15 minutes. And also, I don't know what type of deck to choose. So we played like 2 matches with green, with blue, and white. There is a potential that we played 3 matches with white because I kind of forgot. We had one pretty long match, and I don't know if it was a 1 match or 2 matches before that. Completely forgot. Whatever. So let's just now build some multicolored decks to play in the next part of the stream after a big break. And yes, I believe I'm not going to stream Sealed today because again, there's no point. I mean, if we had an audience and audience would request streaming Sealed, I would probably stream it or draft. But if there's no if there are no requests and I'm just playing for fun, mostly for myself, so I probably would choose whatever I want in this instance and whatever fits right. And I believe at this point, for me personally, I'd rather choose to just play as many matches as possible with as many decks as I can make throughout the event and try this format instead of just making first stream about draft, second stream about best of 1, and third one about Sealed. It just seems like I'm trying to fit into this small time frames too much, and the only thing that I will get is pretty limited experience. So, because again, it's pretty limited experience in draft, because I have no clue how to play draft properly. I will definitely make a lot of stupid mistakes and build weird decks, and we will waste a lot of time on deciding. In the end, we're going to lose all matches without having that much of fun. With Sealed, it's a little bit easier than draft, because you will build deck around whatever you have right away, but it's still quite limited in terms of like multicolored, producing multicolored decks. You probably will just create in Sealed deck based around one color with a splash of another one. Unless, again, you will see something that could potentially create a multicolor deck. And why would I bother play with formats that limit my experience and limit my time? Where I could spend time by just playing best of one, which is much more interesting way for me to experience, like gain the same experience, even better experiences, but on my terms, I would say. Because again, draft is not necessarily my terms. Sealed is kind of, but again, we're limited by only 9 boosters or whatever. So yeah, let's just build a deck. So we could build a deck based on 2 colors that we didn't include in our so-called sessions. So we could create a black-red deck based on that. We need to think about doing that. Let's just find a good multicolor deck and build deck around them. This one is actually quite playable. We played multiple matches when this card was super playable. So we could choose to create deck around it too. Then sacrifice a permanent. So creating a deck based on sacrificing could be a good idea, like one of them. Also put this one in play also. So yeah, let's just create one deck. It's basically based on Rakdos ability. Let's craft another copy here. 4 copies of this. And now let's choose all mythics and rares and try to build something cool. So again, devotion to black is not necessarily going to work well here. Like everything that works around devotion is probably not a good idea for multicolor decks. Unless you have a multicolor deck that works with devotion. But for that, I believe you have to definitely create the deck with more than 60 cards in it. So no, not a historic format. We need standard here. So yeah, go. Again, Theros Beyond Death only cards. And let's think. So again, this deck, this one enters the battlefield, sacrifice it, and when it enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card. When each opponent who didn't discard a card this way loses 3 life, and then escape with 5. So we have a couple of cards with escape, which means that we need to have a lot of cards in our graveyard. So it could be a good idea to put as many cards as possible that works with escape, maybe. So just, and also escape is the only ability that we didn't test it necessarily. Enters a dice, draw a card for each aura you control that was attached to it. Yeah, let's just first build decks around mythics and rares. Let's first about around mythics. It's going to be faster. There's the battlefield, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. It actually works with this deck. Exiled 8 other cards from your graveyard. This is quite a lot. But you could pay it with pretty limited amount of mana. It also adds devotion to red. If we decide to put it. Let's finish. Okay, what else we have? How about this one? I mean, everything that works with devotion is not necessarily a good idea to put in this deck. Although we could. But let's not. Yeah, let's not work with devotion. Let's just work around escape ability only. There's not that many mythics. Let's go in rares. So at the beginning of your step, you may exile an enchantment card from your graveyard. If you do, create 2/2 black zombie creature token. It kind of works. But for that, we need to have a lot of enchantment into our graveyard. Let's put it for fun. Enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, and whenever you cast a spell, you lose 1 life, and whenever this one becomes the target of spell or ability, sacrifice it. So, quite cool. I mean, it allows us to draw cards. we could sacrifice it on our own later. Put the top 3 cards of the library into your hand, then you may exile a creature card or enchantment card from your graveyard. If you do create a zombie, you gain X life or X, and scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. This one kind of works with zombies. So enters the battlefield, create a goat creature, sacrifice another creature, scry 1, escape. It's quite cheap. Under non-token creature control dice, you may exile it. Search your library for a card, put into spells you cast from your graveyard, cast 1 less to cast. Kind of a good one. It's pretty costly, so let's put 2 copies. Exile target creature card from your graveyard. By the way, let's make a test. I just want to test things. Yep, test works. With the top cards of your library, you may put that card into your graveyard. Target creature gets one exile twice targets. And deals combat damage to a player. That player sacrifices a creature. The rest are pretty costly though. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. Yep, definitely. Again, this is more like an escape ability deck. Gain control of target creature as long. I wanted to test this one, so let's just put 2 copies. We don't need Minotaurs, so how about this one? Use target spell, choose 1. This one is quite cool. 3 damage to each opponent. Exile top 2 cards of your library. Choose 1 of them. Until the end of next turn, you may play that card. But for that we need a lot of mana though. 4 damage to each creature in each planeswalker. Haha, this is crazy. I mean, we could put a couple of mass removals here. Enters the battlefield, return any number of our cards from your graveyard in the battlefield attached to creatures you control. Those ours, the king of your next end step, and exile them instead. Let's try this, just for fun. Let's put Phoenix in order to replay it multiple times. I guess this is it now. And now we'll go into uncommons and commons. See what we have there. First, let's just see how many. Don't have that many. Okay, so destroy target creature an opponent controls with power 2 or less. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature. The player discards that card. Exile target opponent graveyard. That's actually very cool. Let's put a couple of copies of that. So in general, this deck is pretty weird now. I mean, first. Has troubles with lands. Definitely needs the equal amount. And this is it? So you tell me that this is the limit? I can't put anything else in this deck? It's weird. To defend step, you make 7 enchantment card. Ugh. Maybe we need to get rid of a couple of cards like that. Like this. To the zombies you control. Yeah, let's just get rid of the zombie-oriented cards. They're probably not going to work that well. Equal to the cards and 3 other cards in your graveyard. So this is going to be our first deck that we're going to play after the relatively big break. Or maybe not a big break. We'll see. Maybe I will right away start. The next part of the session with multiple color decks. So enters the battlefield, sacrifice unless it escaped. Yes. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, sacrifice another creature or enchantment. So this will allows us to sacrifice these type of enchantments if we, for instance, are going to run out of lives. So this one works with this one perfectly. Is their hand? So target opponent's graveyard. This one is a good idea if opponent has escape deck too. Kind of something to get rid of the escape abilities. This Phoenix is a pretty decent way to attack at the beginning. Graveyard battlefield attached to creatures. I don't have that many hours, and I can't attach them onto creatures, so this one is pointless to here. So this one deals 4 damage to each creature. So again, in case I want to kill all of my creatures and escape them right away, or not right away, slowly. You can have this one if you have deck built around escape. Even if all of your creatures will die, you will bring them back at some point. Unless opponent will exiles your graveyard. Gain control of target creature. So this one again is two pretty interesting enchantments. Enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into the graveyard, shuffle your library. So again, this one allows us to put certain cards with escape ability into the graveyard in order to escape them and not wait till we're gonna get them from the library. This has a pretty cheap escape by itself. This one again, pretty interesting one. Enters the battlefield, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Yep. Softens devotion to black. Nope. When enchanted creature dies, return that card into the battlefield under your control. Not as an escape. Oh, it's actually could help us to take control of other creatures, like opponent controls, which is pretty cool. Whenever an opponent draws a card, deals some damage to the player. This is actually pretty cool. Definitely want it here. It's slowly going to kill opponent. It's also slowly will drain lives from the opponent, so as this card will drain life from us. So we need kind of a counterbalance. If something is going to drain lives from us, we also need to drain life from the opponent if our strategy will take time to develop. Now devotion. Okay, 3 escapes with 2 counters on it. No thanks to zombie. How about this one? Enters the battlefield. Each opponent loses X life, where X is a devotion to black. You gain life equal to the lives lost this way. Quite cool. But again, although we will have potential devotion to black and red, it might not work. Let's just not risk to put devotion cards with this deck. Gets minus for each card in your opponent's hand. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player discards a card. This actually works pretty well for this deck, but it's too costly. Maybe for sideboard. How about this one? Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put +1/+1 counter on this one. Yep, works. Sacrifice a creature or enchantment. Also allows us to sacrifice enchantments, which is another one that works with this deck. Whenever this one dies, it deals 2 damage to target creature, planeswalker, and opponent controls. Quite interesting one. I mean, it works, but we actually already run out of cards. This one equals the devotion to red. No, thank you. And spell 3 damage. The king of your upkeep if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. No. No. Fights up to 1 target creature. Pretty cool, but no. We could put less of these oxes, put more of these. Against trample. This actually works pretty decent for this deck. Let's put the saga here. Yeah, this is it, I guess. So we built our deck, which is cool. So now let's see what we could miss from comments. because again, we could have some cool comments here. Sacrifice creature, your opponents lose 1 life, you gain 1 life. But again, this deck is pretty, like, it's stacked pretty well. 2 cards of your library. So this one gives us a lot of cards in our graveyard. It also gives us life that we need to counterbalance from this. So in general, this is a pretty decent deck. So let's just see the percentage of mana. That's pretty even, pretty close. So average convert mana cost is 3, which is 32 lands is more than enough. Not more than enough. We might have a shortage in lands, but it will work. I might put less of these. I mean, having too many of this is probably not a good idea. Let's just put a couple of cool comments here instead of a lot of the unknown. Just try to find something cool. So we have kind of a mass removal. Target player loses life. Again, this one is active. We need something passive. And also cheap. Passive and cheap. Can't block. At the beginning of your combat, you turn each player puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. This is actually pretty interesting. I mean, I could put 2 copies of it. It definitely will support the strategy and it will create a lot of problems for the opponent. Again, potentially. Exile target creature. I need to think about it. But again, having too many copies of it probably not a good idea. Like, we have 1 copy, let's just put 1 copy. And let's just find a good balance for it in red. Whenever 2 or more creatures your opponent controls attack, this one can block this combat. Because your first spell each turn, this one gets plus and will counter. At the beginning of each combat, if you control a creature with power 4 greater, no. No, this is a game controller. Nothing good in red here, so let's just then put something. Enters the battlefield. Nope. Enters the battlefield, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Okay, this one works. I mean, although it's better to actually have just 2 copies of this. Yep, that's it. So yeah, we built a pretty fun deck. It definitely going to be fun to play. I mean, it basically built around escapability mostly. It also has a lot of kind of just weird combinations. Again, most of the decks that I'm creating intuitively, so not all of them will have logic to them, especially like the regular magic logic, but it has some logic to it. So yeah, and starting from the next session, after a break in this session, we will continue, or we will basically play with this deck. And after playing with this deck, maybe I will create a couple of more multicolor decks, and on that note we will finish this session. And next sessions are going to be pre-recorded videos for YouTube in Russian, so I'm going to switch the game in Russian language and build a couple of new decks in Russian, I guess. It's going to be a pretty interesting one. Instead of just producing the same amount of content, let's just create a diverse content in general. So yeah, we left about 2 hours till the overall finishing of the English streams, I guess. Once English streams are finished, we will switch to Russian streams. But I will start Russian streams quite late, probably in about, I don't know, in a couple of hours. So in order to do so, after finishing the last English one. So let's just name this deck first. Gonna name it no. Horrors of Escape. Hopefully it's properly named. Horrors of Escape. So yeah, and let's make it, of course, favorite. So yeah, this is going to be our first multicolor deck that we're going to test in the next stream. So on this note, we're going to end this part of the stream. So again, as a reminder, this stream is possible thanks to Wizards of the Coast providing me with a special preview account of Magic the Gathering Arena as an early access event. Thanks for the invite, Wizards. So we will be back in the next stream after quite a bit of a break. I will make a break probably a 20-minute break I will get, maybe less or more, we'll see. And we will get back playing multicolor, our first multicolor deck, Horrors of Escape, which is basically based around escapability and a couple of other cool stuff. So yeah, this is it for this part of the session. So again, I'm not going to say goodbye. We're going to see you in the next one. So see you in about half an hour. Buddy says exactly that.